Hey everyone, welcome to SLP's Wine and Cheese. I'm Deb.
And I'm Maria.
And here's our podcast.
For the realistic SLP. Welcome!
Oh look, we did that together.
We're awesome.
Cheers to that.
That's right. Our life is speech and we're okay with that. Understanding, language comprehension, expressive output.
And then also you're teaching them like syntactically correct sentences.
Right. Work smarter, not harder.
Right.
The first step is just how to communicate.
Trying to help people to, improve their speech language communication. Neurons that fire together, wire together.
I like that. That's really genius. We need to cheers to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey everyone, welcome to season 2 of SLP's Wine and Cheese. I'm Deb.
And I'm Maria.
And here's our guest, Christina.
Hi, thank you for having me.
This is Christina Moros. She was my former CF from last year, and this will be her first licensed year working as a speech pathologist. How do you feel?
I'm excited for another year of an SLP.
Can we cheers to that?
Yeah.
I'm ready. I am ready with the cheers.
Cheers to that.
To that.
I almost drank the microphone.
That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, wait, well, obviously, the elephant in the room, I sound like a man.
Yes.
Because I had a bit of a cold, and then I went to a wedding, and I did not practice good vocal hygiene.
No, she
and
did
I
not.
sang at the top of my lungs the entire night.
Meaning you didn't use your diaphragm and proper airflow?
No, I definitely belted, but I think
Right.
that I just did it too long,
Yes.
too strong,
Right.
but go big or go home.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing we have our guest who's going to give us her wealth of knowledge. But
That's right.
before we're ready to listen to her, we want to talk about wine.
Right.
Right? Okay, so what are we drinking? We have red wine. It's a Georges Dubdif. I have no idea what
I
these
love giving you
letters
these
are.
very difficult jobs.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to
this
take
from.
a picture of this and people will see that there's like letters overlapping and I'm like, I don't know what that is. But it's a red Beaujolais. I think our guest, Christina, knows how to pronounce it a little better.
A Beaujolais Nouveau.
Wow.
Oh.
It's new. It means new Beaujolais or whatever, and it's from that region of France. Is where it comes from.
Fancy. It's made of Gamay. It's made of Gamay grapes, and it's a light-bodied wine. It's very fruity, and it has like a little bit of a cherry grape taste. That's why we've paired it with some cherries and some Gruyere cheese. And this cheese, it goes well. It's a nutty cheese, and I feel like it has a nice, rich, and creamy taste. I think the pairing is good. It feels very smooth. It goes down smoothly. I vote drink it. What do you guys vote?
I vote sink it, which means I don't like it, but I'm going to drink it anyway.
Right.
I think Maria was setting me up. She just wanted to put on some bad taste in wine. But it's actually growing on me. So,
Right.
even when it starts off bad, you just hold your nose and it's good.
Which is great for our CF-themed episode.
That's right.
So, Christina,
What
what
did you
does
think?
this remind you of life right now?
Well, do
Does
you
this
drink
walk-
it or sink it?
Yeah.
I would drink it, and I think we should come back to Deb at the end and see if maybe her opinions change. Since she says it's growing on her, maybe by the end she'll maybe
Yeah.
let it float or something. I don't know.
All right. So, were the reviews mixed? I guess two say drink it. Deb, I feel like you should vote sink it. Start season 2 right.
I voted sink it. I voted the ballot is in. That is my final answer. But
All
sink
right.
it does mean drink it. It just means I'm not happy about it.
Right. And just don't buy it again, like you said.
Right.
Okay.
I'm also mixing it with emergency, so that could have something to do with
I
this.
think it's probably too much sweetness for you.
I don't know
but-
what it is.
Anyway, so since we have our guest here, Christina, we're going to play a nice, fun getting to know you game, and it's called Two Truths and a Lie. So we're going to all say our 3 statements, and we'll all collectively guess which one is the lie. So who wants to go first?
Not me, because I didn't think of them yet.
Yes, so that would be Christina then.
I did. I
See,
did
she's
do a little bit
prepared.
of pre-work for
She's
this.
representing the CF. She's here, she's prepared, she's ready. And I'm just going to eat a cherry. Go ahead.
All right, so my 2 truths and a lie are: I worked as a waitress at an Italian restaurant. I have traveled to South America, and my birthday is a national holiday.
Wow. All right, so which one is the lie? You travel to South America?
I think her birthday is not a national holiday.
Maria's correct.
Yeah.
I have not been to South America, but my birthday is a national holiday.
What is your birthday?
July 4th.
Can we
Cheers
Oh,
to
and
4th of July.
You're Cancer too.
Yeah.
We're Cancers
this
in
is
the
the
house.
Cancer show.
This is the Cancer show.
Mm-hmm.
The alternate name.
This wine is good. Very smooth.
You're crazy.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. We're all mad here, right?
Right. I don't
Okay.
remember what episode that was.
So, yeah. Who knows? But it's all right. All right, I'll go since you're brainstorming over there. So, I was an extra in a film with Leonardo DiCaprio. I've danced on a Broadway stage, and I've seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Which one is the lie?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
What do you
Danced on a
think?
Broadway stage.
No, those are true. Yes, I have not seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I tricked you guys.
When were you in what movie?
It's called The Garden of Eden or The Gardener of Eden. It's like an indie film, and he was somewhat in it. I saw him running away from everyone, and all the girls were just swarming after him.
Oh.
And the back of my head is in that movie. So you're welcome,
Very nice.
people. You're
I like
welcome.
it.
Look out for that.
And then I danced on a Broadway stage because I did. We won a Disney grant with my students last year, and I got to go on stage and dance to "You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me" because we did an Aladdin dance, and I was on there dancing with the kids. But I was there, you know, right over there. And ironically, I know I travel a lot, but I have not seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That's why I put that one in there to throw everyone off. So, yeah. All right. So, Deb is going to tell us her 2 truths and a lie. But before we do that, I just want to comment and say I love our new intro. And I was wondering if people like our new intro or not.
Thank you, John Miranda.
Yeah.
That was a part of the plan. Good job, Maria.
You're welcome.
John Miranda, he composed us a song, then he listened to our episodes, chopped them up, sliced them together, and now we have 3 different intros, so you guys are never going to know which one's coming at you.
That's right.
Some are long, some are short, but so thank you, John Miranda.
All right.
Hit him up.
Thank you.
I think it's like johnmiranda@gmail.com.
Okay.
I sound like Phoebe, like when she thought when she was like wanted to lick everyone to get her cold back.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no licking here, please.
No.
Thank you. All right.
Well, I have the cold. You should want to lick me.
Right. Yeah, I don't.
You don't want to lick me? Okay, my 2 truths and a lie are I used to play basketball in high school. I was in a commercial once, and I used to do stand-up comedy.
Okay. Does Christina want to go first?
I feel like you weren't in a commercial.
And I don't think you played basketball in high school.
I was in a commercial, and no, I did not play basketball.
I knew comedy was a trick.
This wine is making me smarter. That's all I have to say.
But I did basketball stats in high school, and I sang the national anthem one time.
What is basketball stats?
When you keep score and keep track of how many rebounds and stuff, and I did the shot chart and the score.
Was that fun?
Yeah, I liked it. It was fun. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was fun to because basketball games are fun, and
I always fun.
Yeah, in high school it's fun to all go. Everyone's got signs. They're screaming at people. And then I also always had a ride because I was on the bus with all the basketball guys, and
I feel like that's the fun part. No?
Yeah, I did have a crush on one of them.
Yeah, there we go.
Guys.
There it is.
That's the reason.
But I mean, not all of the years, and I did it with my friend Ashley, and she was cool.
That's fun.
Yeah. And I was in a commercial when I was little. It was about recycling.
Cool.
Because I'm just trying to, better the earth.
Aren't we all?
And I sang a song that was like, cycle, cycle, got to recycle, cycle. Something like
Sounds like it belongs
And they
right
made
after the Sesame Street.
Yeah, it was like, what's this? Is this the Cabbage Patch? Is this the move?
Yes, that's the Cabbage
So
Patch.
they had us doing that with rakes. Because
Yeah.
recycle, but then also rake.
Is there a home video of this that we can maybe put on the Insta story for a later observation?
I really wish, and I have Googled the internet for cycle, gotta recycle commercial.
Can you show us that move one more time?
Cycle, got to recycle.
All right.
And the head nod.
I know. Well, I don't know if I did the head nod. I was 4 or 5. I might have been, 5 or 6 actually. So I don't know if I was that confident in myself to do a head nod, but yeah, I Googled it. I haven't found it. I did it with a friend of the family and their daughter, and they said they had a copy. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
But if anyone is a diehard fan, you can prove it to me by scratching up some footage of me singing about recycling. We filmed it in Jersey City is all I remember.
Fun times.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to our next game where we're going to get to know Christina a little bit more. So this is, I'm sure everyone's heard of this game, 20 questions. So we're going to fire away and try to ask you all these 20 questions before our time is up, which I feel like we can do.
I think so. You do the odds and I'll do the evens.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's a good one. All right.
I'll do odds and evens.
And you are doing all the work because you're the CF.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's it. Okay. Number one, where are you from?
I'm originally from Cortland Manor in Westchester County in New York. Some people call it upstate. I just call it 40 minutes north of New York City.
Okay.
But I moved to Brooklyn 7 years ago.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
I'm chewing spaghetti.
Yeah.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have one older brother. He is 3 years older than me, and he just got married, so now I have a sister-in-law.
Oh, cool. He's the one you consulted with about the pronunciation
Yes,
of the wine,
yes.
right?
His wife is from Paris, so we did a little wine consultation. If they hear this, they'll be really appalled with my pronunciation.
Oh, no. If they're appalled with yours, they're going to just throw up at mine. So, yikes. All right. All right, so when you were in high school, did you know you wanted to be an SLP? That's question number 3, by the way.
Yes. So I knew probably like halfway through high school that I was going to do speech because by the time that I was applying for undergrad, I was looking at colleges that offered speech and communication programs.
Same here.
Oh, I was not. I was going to school for PR and advertising. I was going to be Carrie Bradshaw and Samantha Jones.
Nice.
All in one.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you knew by the time you were in high school, you would say.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right. Question 4. We got an even number.
Yeah, but the rest of the 3 was, did you know any SLPs when you were young?
Oh, that's what that said? Okay.
Yeah.
I did. I went to an SLP when I was in preschool for articulation because I had some backing issues.
Really?
My parents thought it was really funny. They still like to poke fun at it.
Really? Can you give us some examples of what you said?
From what I hear from my parents, I would say Gubway for Subway and Geyer Truck for Fire Truck. And apparently those were like 2 of my favorite words to say.
She's like, the Gubway.
I think it was because I like Subway the restaurant, not the train.
I gotcha.
And I was like, oh, I want to go to get a Subway sandwich. My parents were like, you can't even say you're not going to get one, you know, that type of thing.
Wow, ouch.
Mm-hmm.
They're tough.
Yeah.
By the way, I rode the subway today, and it is so sweaty and sticky down there.
So sweaty and sticky until you get on the train, and then you freeze for the 30 minutes that you're on it.
Yeah. And you know, Bear Grylls says don't do that. He said the worst thing to do is to get really sweaty in the wilderness, and then you get cold and the sweat freezes on you.
Yeah, isn't that how you get sick?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's why everyone was so miserable in the summer.
You know, I was on the subway 2 days. Look what happened to me.
Stay to your car.
It's my speech bubble car. That's why I love my car. Now I know why Han Solo and Chewbacca were so mad when they lost the Millennium Falcon. Because you got all your stuff in your vehicle.
Yeah.
Like your charger and your makeup.
It's like your second home. I mean, especially if you're an SLP and you're traveling from here to there.
Well, yeah.
This is my dinner table. This is my bathroom. All in one. I put my makeup on here. I eat.
Yeah.
Get my coffee.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I think my car had like a full wardrobe in it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to wear a uniform. I had like at least 2 extra uniforms, case of water, couple cups of coffee.
Yeah. I always have a bathing suit.
Really?
You never know.
I have flip-flops because you never know when you need that pedicure.
Right.
Like, I need to get my toes done.
A good emergency supply kit we could put together.
Yes.
Right.
That could be a prize.
We could.
Maybe we're gonna have to change you to doing all. I might need more vocal rest.
Yeah.
So where did you go to undergrad?
I went to undergrad at Brooklyn College.
Oh, what are you, smart or something?
And I was
Because me and Deb were like, what's that? Like? We went to St. John's. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
There wasn't even an application fee or an admission essay required. They were taking anybody. They were like the butt kisses and it takes two.
For undergrad, you didn't have to apply to the program. You only had to apply to stay in the undergraduate program. You had to apply for your classes. It was a very strange procedure.
Wait, go back. Expand on that one.
So you could declare the major, but in order to take a class in the speech communication department, you had to apply for the classes. So you would start with like your level 1 classes, which were like phonetics and like intro to language, and you would apply for those classes, and they would do it based on your previous GPA in your core classes.
So if you didn't have a high enough GPA, you weren't guaranteed to get that class?
Right. And so, like, for example, my first semester, they take, like, 60 people into the level 1 classes, and there would be, like, 120 people on a waiting list.
Oh, wow.
And then you would apply the next semester. And then as you moved up each tier, there'd be, like, less and less seats. So if there were 60 in the first tier, there was, like, 45 in the second. And then, like, 35 in the third.
Wow.
So weird. It was a very strange process.
Were you in the first tier, second, or third?
Well,
or it just
so
changed?
the tiers were the classes, and then they got the size of your cohort got smaller as you got towards the end.
I see, because there was like less competition.
Right. So some people would end up taking.
So it was like the Amazing Race?
Sure. I've never watched The Amazing Race, but maybe.
I never did either, but I think that's how that show works.
I never did either.
But you just keep going, and then, you lose people along the way.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then people, if you didn't make it in one semester, you could reapply for the same classes the following semester. So you could start with people in tier 1, and then you would go, like, to the next one and the third one, and they might be, like, one below you now. It was very odd.
All right, I see. I get it. Okay. Do you want to do question 5, Deb, or do you still need more vocal rest?
You can go.
All right, let's give Deb some vocal rest. Okay. Did you party in college?
I mean, I partied a fair amount in college. I went to Brooklyn College. I lived in the dorm for 1 year, and then all my friends moved out of the dorms and got our own apartments in nearby neighborhoods. Yeah. So we all partied a lot at houses and not, like, out of town.
I got you.
So we did a lot of, like, sitting in strange basements in Brooklyn.
Interesting.
It was good.
Do you like that?
Fun. I liked it.
Was that more your style?
That was more, I was never, one time we tried to go to a club. There was, like, a torrential downpour. And we decided to go home. So.
Yeah, I like to go out more. I guess because I like to dance. So, like, in college, we did, like, more going out. People were, like, hanging out in the dorms. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to stay home and study. Like,
yeah, I like to be in the dorms and then, like, go right to my bed. As soon as you were over, you could just Irish goodbye and head to your room, and no one would know.
That's pretty good.
It's great.
I lived in the dorms the first year of St. John's, and it was very boring, and I had no friends. And I partied one day, and I got so drunk.
I had a feeling that that's what that story was going to.
Yeah. I remember, like, walking crooked and seeing double and, like, sleeping by a toilet. And then that was it. Never happened again. And then I moved out of the dorms, and I only partied, like, after work. But that was, like, me working and then, like, getting drinks from the bartender and then, like, going out with all the waiters and pretending I was older than I was. Yeah. But, like, no going out to clubs or anything, except, like, Halloween when I went to Webster Hall.
Oh, yeah. I've been there before on Halloween, too.
I've been to also Pasha. I'm not sure if it's open anymore, but that was a club.
Not.
Oh, I didn't think so, because the last time I was there, it didn't seem like it.
I forgot about that place. Yeah. That's, like, in Hell's Kitchen,
usually
right?
you forget about it. You go and quickly try to forget about it.
Interestingly enough, I went to Pasha Shah in Barcelona last year. And I'm like, oh, my youth. But I remember because me and Deb were friends in grad school, and she would always be like, come meet up, let's go. I'm working at the comedy club till 12, and then we're going to go out. And, like, that was always Deb's, like, weekend.
That's also very late at night. Deb will be like, it's 10:30, you want to go see a show? I'm like, I want to go to bed 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. I'm like, it just started.
Yeah. Party's here.
Yeah.
Because you were always working, Deb, so that's why. I got it.
That's right.
All right. I think it's important to have a balance between going out and, like, studying because, I mean, college is meant to have fun and have those experiences. So, but I did see, like, my other friends who were not speech majors going out, like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do that. Speech major, I got to pick 1, maybe 2 days tops to go out. So, I definitely didn't party as much as I saw others, but you know what? I don't care. I'm like, it paid off for me, so you know, love. What
I
we're
also
doing,
worked
so.
in undergrad and grad school, so I didn't go out
Same
all
here.
the time. I was like, I have things to do.
Working was going out for me.
Yeah.
But it was fun. So, I get this message a lot from people. They're concerned about their GPA that they have currently and whether or not they'll affect their ability to get into grad school. And I had a 3.78, I think, when I graduated. I graduated summa cum laude. I was in the middle, which I was very happy with.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to be on top, and I don't want to be like the last of the high. So I liked being in the middle. And I got into like all of my schools, and I hardly even tried. I feel like I don't even know that part of my life that what happened. So I have no advice for these people who ask me.
I mean, I had, I think, like a 3.8 or a 3.9 when I graduated. I applied to 5 schools in New York, and I got into all of them except for St. John's, which I thought was, like, ironic and really funny. And I kept the rejection letter to, like, you know, stay humble.
That's interesting.
Weird.
But I got into St. John's for undergrad. I don't know. I think I also used to tutor students on the SAT and for college applications. And I think the same thing applies to graduate school, that, like, no school is just looking at your grades or just looking at a GRE score or just looking at a recommendation. They're looking at a whole person because they're building a cohort that they want to later represent them. So if you have a 3.5, but you have an outstanding recommendation and a really interesting resume with lots of experience, that might be valued more than your 3.5, because I have people with 4.0s, but they, like, can't, you know, hold a conversation or, like, don't have any other experiences outside of that does, and then they don't excel.
Yeah, that's exactly
school setting.
So not much has changed since me and Deb went to school, because that's what they were telling us too.
Yeah.
My GPA was high. I was a nerd. That's what I meant by, like, just before, like, I didn't go out twice a week, but I could have, because I had, like, pretty much like a 4.0, 3.9. Like, I was crazy. I was like, I need to study.
Yeah.
Like, all the time.
I didn't study.
Yeah. No, that's whatever. No regrets in life, but, you know, that was me. Couldn't change it, so.
I feel like I studied, but we had to take 3 theologies and 3 philosophies.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm not studying this. Except I liked the philosophy. And then also, I actually, believe it or not, got a C in psychology. I got 1 C in all of college.
Did you cry? Would have cried?
No, I didn't, because it was my 2nd semester of undergrad. I had to move out of my dorm because I was, like, living with a psychopath. And I signed up in the beginning of the school year, living on campus with my classes. And then I moved off campus, and I had no car. I was reliant on, like, 2 buses to get to school. And psychology was just at this, like, really weird time where I was like, do I go to work so I can afford to live, or do I end up being late for psychology? And I was just late for psychology. I missed like 2 tests. I had to make them up. So I am really great at psychology, and I only got that C because I'm a survivor. I won't give up.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a C, like, ever. Probably would have had a heart attack if I did. So that's good.
I was like, C, all right.
Wow. I mean, hats off to you that you were able to do that.
Because I never went.
Yeah. I had a B- in psych stats, and I never went to that class. And when I did, I would just, like, do other work on my computer, and
yeah,
I hope I never need to.
So I never took psych stats or any stats because I kept hearing how hard it was, and I'm like, I can't bring down my perfect GPA.
I think we needed it, or someone told me. Maybe someone lied to me. It might have been a lie, but someone told me I needed it, and I took it, and it was
for us.
miserable.
It was mixed because it was like towards my junior year or even my senior year of undergrad. They were like, "Oh, you haven't taken it yet," and I'm like, "No," and I'm not going to, and I kept hearing mixed things, so I'm like, it wasn't worth the risk for me to get like a B, you know?
Perfect 4.0, yeah.
Yeah, so that was me. So my GRE, I don't know. I didn't do as well as I hoped, but whatever, it worked for me. I did take the prep course because, again, I was crazy. So
I don't remember. I took the GRE the day after, or like the Monday after my cousin's wedding, and I was like so hungover that I was gonna puke on my GRE.
I don't think
but
I
it was
left
fun.
my house.
Clearly,
Like,
I got into grad school.
Yeah.
I didn't study.
Yeah.
Any advice for people taking the GRE?
I have advice for them.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, God.
Yeah, I didn't take a prep course or anything. I remember signing up and I was like, well, whatever, I should at least look at the test. So I remember like sitting at the bus stop being like, what am I getting myself into? I don't even know what's on this test. It was not hard, really. And when I was going, I was aiming for 1,000 and I got 1,000. But I think it's out of something else right now, so 1,000 is like not the number you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I avoided math all of undergrad because I was so scared because I was so bad at math. And I had to take math to graduate, so I didn't take it until the last semester of undergrad. It was such a great math class. It was so helpful. Had I taken that math class either the spring semester before or even the fall semester when I took the GRE my senior year, I would have gotten an even better score on that GRE, and I would have gotten more scholarships. So my advice is to not delay that math class.
Oh, good.
And have faith in yourself because, like, even though in high school and, like, in maybe younger grades you struggle with math, you do everything better in college because you actually figure out how to learn.
Right.
So everything's much easier for you to absorb. So take a math class before you take that GRE. But I also didn't take a prep course. I didn't even have a book. I didn't even know. I was like, I just signed up on Pearson.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't take a prep course either, and I took the online, had like a practice test that you could do.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that, and I think my advice would be, yeah, you know more than you think you know, and so much of the GRE is based on your ability to reason and use logic skills, and if you're a college student, you probably can do that.
Right.
If you've been doing your class readings and writing and creating essays and arguments, you know a lot more information than you think you know, and you have the underlying skills to figure out the test.
Right.
Maybe you're not going to know every answer, but you can figure out the test.
That's good.
Right, just read it. And then also, a lot of the math, oh, it sounds like Frankie just peed on something.
Okay.
A lot of the math is solving inequalities. Well, it was in 2010.
I don't remember what the math
And
was.
I didn't know how to do that until I took that math class.
My advice is not to take that prep course, 'cause I feel like my score barely went up. Sorry, prep courses out there.
So you took it twice?
I did. I took it once, and then I took the prep course, then I took it again, and it went up like, a couple of points. And I'm like, really? So I recommend going to the library and getting practice books for free, and I love the library, and get practice books and just like train yourself and like be vigilant and carve out time to prepare for the GRE and just make your own prep course.
Yeah.
So for free.
When I tutored the SAT, the advice I gave my students was to read the newspaper on their way to the test to also get their mind like in this idea of like thinking critically.
Nice.
That's
Good
could
one.
apply for the GREs.
Good
Yeah.
one. I like these answers and these questions.
Thank you.
All right, question 7. We're back to me because I'm on the odd number, right? How many grad schools did you apply to, and how many did you get into? You kind of already answered that.
I applied to 5 in New York. Do you want me to name them?
Sure. Yeah.
I applied to Hunter, Brooklyn, NYU, St. John's, and then I applied to Emerson in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into 4 and not St. John's.
Interesting. All right.
I applied to St. John's, Montclair, William Patterson, Hofstra, Delphi. Did I say St. John's?
Yeah.
NYU and Columbia. I got into everyone except for NYU. They didn't want me.
It's okay. It's okay. Everything happens for a
That's
reason.
Hold on to that
Yeah.
rejection letter.
I graduated in the spring. What is that?
The middle one?
I graduated, in the fall. What was it? December, whatever.
Yeah.
And St. John's was the only school that had that, so I applied and got in and just started right away. So, and then I did my grad assistantship like that in September. So that goes to question 8. Did you have any scholarships, grad assistant, research opportunities?
Yeah, so in undergrad, I had a full scholarship because I was in Macaulay in the Honors College of CUNY. So they give you a full scholarship and they gave you like a fund to go study abroad. So I had an opportunity to use my college's funds to go to London.
Oh, awesome.
And as part of my undergraduate capstone, I had to do research, which I got to like present at a few conferences, which was cool.
Cool. What was your research on?
My research still lives somewhere on the internet, so if anyone Googles it, because we had to like keep a blog. I was researching. I ended up writing a play as my capstone about a person who was deaf and living in the deaf community, and that was my creative alternative to writing an actual thesis paper.
Very nice.
Cool.
And then in graduate school, I also had opportunities to do research. I got a scholarship for a research opportunity if I worked with one of our adjunct professors, and so I got to work with her on studying Jamaican Creole and the syntax of speakers who speak English and Jamaican Creole, and I got to travel to Jamaica and collect data.
You know, I'm the only one on this show who paid for college.
Yeah, sorry.
I do, but I did have to pay for some of graduate school.
So that's so question 9 then. Do you have student loans? I don't. I'm sorry, Deborah. Don't hate me.
I have some. I paid for 3 semesters of graduate school. I was working in graduate school, so I was able to cover like some of the costs each semester, and then I took out loans to cover the rest of it. And I have about $30,000 left in loans. But my goal is it will be paid off by 30.
Okay.
Put it out there.
Good for you. And you will do that.
Yes,
I have all of the loans.
All of the loans.
All of the loans.
All of the loans.
Okay, number 10.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing about being a graduate student?
It wasn't that hard. I don't know. I think the hardest thing about being a graduate student was that you were still a student. I think that by the time I was getting to the last 2 semesters of graduate school, I was really eager to kind of be done with school. I had been in school for so long, and I really, really wanted to be in the workforce and like actually get to do my job every day and not go to class. That, for me, was the hardest part. I guess time management was troubling, but I think I kind of figured that out in undergrad, and so it wasn't that hard to do the same thing a couple years later.
I felt like there was no way that the content was not difficult. It wasn't like I couldn't wrap my head around it. The workload, sometimes, I guess I got a little snotty or like senioritis towards the end. I'm like, really? That's what you want me to do right now? Like, whatever it was, like, you know, just some stupid bibliography. I don't even want to hear the word citation again.
Don't get your PhD.
I know. No, I'm done.
I know you are.
I'm done here.
Okay, so I feel this. I felt the same way too. But like, what always would keep me going is like, all right, just like, kind of enjoy being a student, because I would always like meet different people, and they're always like, oh my god, just enjoy being a student. So I kind of had that voice in the back of my head. So yeah, and we have reached the halfway point.
Yay.
There's our timer. So we'll go over some housekeeping stuff. So if you're not already, follow us on Instagram. It's SLP's Wine and Cheese Pod, and there's an underscore between each word. You can DM us, or you could send us an email, SLP's Wine and Cheese, all one word. And you could follow me on Instagram. It's Maria.
At Gmail.
At gmail.com, excuse me. SLP's Wine and Cheese at gmail.com. You could follow me on Instagram, see what I'm up to. Maria_KOTSONIS SLP. And I usually tag myself in the SLP's page, on the SLP's page. And then you have Deborah's Instagram. It's Deborah, DEBORAH, Brooks, SLP. And our guest, if you want to follow our guest and see her exciting adventures.
Yeah, you can follow me. There's not much speech-related content, but maybe one of these days I'll get around to posting some. But you can see my travels from the summer. My Instagram is CAOROS, OROS 13.
All right. We also had a listener question. I feel like now is a good time to talk about it. We'll pause between our questions for Christina, and we'll go to one of our listener questions. So our listener asked about picking speech as her second career and what advice she had. I already messaged her, but I feel like it's such a great question. We might as well just talk about it. So when Deborah and I responded to her, we recommended that if you're in another field not related to speech and you're thinking about changing and going back to school for speech, I would recommend going and observing a speech therapist. Make sure you like what they do, like actually try to get inside a school or a nursing home, anything. Like ask around. Hey, if you want to try to message one of us or something, try to find a way to really see with your own eyes. And really ask yourself, like, do I picture myself doing this? Can I do this? And, like, put yourself in their shoes. What do you think, Christina? I mean, because you're, like, sort of fresh out of school.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Make sure it's really something you want to do. And if you live in a state where it's an option to become an SLPA first, or you're an assistant, that might be a good place to start to kind of like get some of the learning under your belt and get some certifications. I would recommend observing and ask your SLP friends if, what they think, and be ready to commit.
That's a good.
Be ready to commit some time to it, because it's not like a quick 9-month certification process. But if you really want to do it, go for it.
Yes.
I also think it's important. I feel like I did well at being an SLP because I worked in a daycare as a high school student, and I also spent a lot of time babysitting, and I just understood kids and how to structure their day based on being a daycare employee. And I also understood how to calm them down or get them to, participate in an undesirable task. So really get to understand human behavior and ways in which you can motivate a very young, irrational individual to do things that are in their best interest. But then in addition to that, if you want to be in the medical setting, then you should study medical textbooks at home in addition to everything that you're doing. Get familiar with all the medical terminology. Try to volunteer in a hospital, shadow somebody in a hospital if they'll let you. And maybe even get a job in a hospital just so that people know you, and then maybe they might be more interested in hiring you as a CF. But from my experience, it's very difficult to penetrate that setting unless you have some sort of inside connection. So definitely work hard at that if that's what you want to do. If you think you want to be in the medical setting or even skilled nursing, you should definitely try to have have a strong placement in college, and then also have your CF in a medical setting, because for the most part, those places don't want to hire you if your whole resume is education setting. So really think about what you're doing and choose wisely.
All right. Great tips. I'm glad we answered that question. I felt like we got a lot of good tips in there. So, are we ready to go back? Christina, are you ready for more questions? Okay.
Absolutely.
Question 11 was, what was easier than you thought?
About the
whole continuum and your whole journey.
I mean, it's very anxiety-ridden from the high school to the college to the grad school.
I think what was easier about it is I kind of like Deb, like I used to work in a school before while I was in graduate school preparing to be an SLP, and I think that I had a really strong comfort level working with young people and working.
So important, I think.
And it felt really natural to me, so I think that that's something that was easier than I thought. And also, like, lesson planning is so much easier than you make it out to be in your mind. You think that you need to bring a new thing for every kid 65 times a week, and you don't.
Let's cheers to that one.
Yeah.
You know
you
me.
don't.
I don't have anything in my cup.
Right. Maybe you shouldn't.
Hey, I sound great.
I know.
Smelly cat.
What are they feeding you? Side note, Christina, are you a Friends fan?
I am. I was watching Friends this afternoon on my couch while making materials for the new school year.
I feel like it's the cancer connection. We just polished off the wine.
Remember when they changed Phoebe's voice for a better voice, and she's oh my god, I'm amazing! and then when it's like the big reveal at the end. Oh yeah, cheers!
Cheers!
It's like the big reveal at the end, and I had to sip.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh no, Phoebe found out that she was only there for the looks because her voice is sound. She's like, oh, that poor ugly woman. She's like just glad she's pretty.
All right, so question 12, was your comp exam difficult?
We did not have comp exams at
right,
Hunter
yes.
College.
Right.
We had to complete a summative project, which was
Right.
of our choice, and we had to work on it through our final year of graduate school. I did mine on Jamaican Creole because I
Yes.
was working with my professor on that. So it was super cool for me because I got to help her collect her research, and then she graciously allowed me to use a portion of it to do my own analysis on it.
Good.
So I studied copula structures in bilingual speakers of Jamaican
Wow.
Creole and Standard American English.
And what did you find? What were your findings in your research?
So there is very little research
she got
on
to she's like, so hold on to your seats, people, when I talk about this.
Yeah.
Study.
There's very little research on Jamaican Creole and English, but what tends to happen, and we were looking at adult populations, but now that I work in a school and a lot of my students have backgrounds as from Caribbean islands and from Jamaica included in that the copula structure in Jamaican Creole, they omit the is. So like instead of saying like we are going, they might say we is going or we
Right.
going, and
Yes.
that's a fine use of their structure. And so in bilingual speakers, they often code switch to that.
Yes, I've seen that before in Spanish too.
Right. And so what happens a lot of the times is that if it's an adult and they've had some sort of brain injury, they're code switching and they're taking a standard test in English, and someone's like, oh no, something's wrong. This is pathological. He's
Right.
doing all these weird things with his scapula when really like he's just code switched into Creole. So we were trying to collect some data on healthy individuals to sort of fuel what would be an appropriate treatment for someone who's a bilingual speaker.
Okay. Speaking of Caribbean speakers, I went to an awesome Caribbean restaurant in Brooklyn Sunday. It's called Negril, BK for Brooklyn. I think I posted on the story. I'll post it on our story. It was awesome. Best, hands down, best lobster.
Where in
mac and
Brooklyn
cheese.
was it?
Park Slope.
Cool.
And every Wednesday it's like reggae night, so I'm gonna go back. I'm
So
excited.
much fun.
Yes, we should all go.
Do a
But,
guest podcast at.
Oh, that would be fun.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get the audio to work there.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Question 13. Deborah's going to have some vocal rest. I'm just going to take over and Deb could chime in whenever. How was the praxis? What did you study? What did you do to study?
The praxis was fine.
Yes.
I think the hardest part of the praxis was that they are very, very strict on standardized testing. When you come in, they make you like take off your sweatshirt and like
Right.
take off your rings and
right about
jewelry. And that to me was more stress inducing than the
Really?
actual content of the exam.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
I
you are a
felt
smart cookie then, because I was like, yes, I got this. I'm going to be here all day. Is this going to cut into my time?
I felt fine about it, and one of my professors had told me that there like tends to be a theme. So like you tend to get a bunch of questions within one particular area of speech. And I was really concerned that I would get one in like an area I didn't know. But I thought it was pretty well balanced. I also told myself like you're not going to know every answer.
That's
and no
good
one
tip.
expects you to get every answer right.
Good. Yeah.
Get as many right as you can.
Right. To
And-
pass it.
Yeah, and you don't have to rely as much on your textbook knowledge as you can rely on like your clinical experiences, I felt.
Yeah.
So to study, I think I took one of the online practice tests. I didn't buy a book. I didn't look at my notes.
I bought the book. Obviously.
We didn't have comms, so that wasn't helpful.
Right.
I just took it, and I figured that like if it didn't work, I still had plenty of time to retake it because you don't need it right away. You don't need it to graduate from a master's program.
Right.
So
Yeah.
All right.
I took it like right. I think I took like the comps and the praxis in the same week,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and I did really well. I don't know what they don't tell you what you got on it, but I called for my scores because my mom was too impatient, and it was like me, my mom, and this dude on the phone, like conferencing, trying to find out my score. So like at that point, I'm like, well, if I failed, like my mom can't strangle me because she's just on the phone,
Right.
like she's so far away.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Good tip.
But the guy was like, wow, you got the highest score.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't even know. I feel like my whole test was about cultural diversity.
Did we take it together, by the way?
I don't know. I felt it like I took it at a. No, we took.
Did you take it at
Oh
Pace?
yeah, we took it at Pace, and then we went to that bar after.
Yes, we did. Oh my,
Yeah.
that was like foreshadowing. We're like, let's go get drunk
Oh, yeah.
now we took this test.
I think
here we are.
everyone did that after.
Minus the tests now.
Yeah. Yeah, but like
That's right. I think we went together. I think.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I remember that was we did take that piece.
And it was cultural.
It was so
Yes,
that's what I was gonna say. It was so easy. I feel like because everything was like, yes, you should be culturally diverse.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
standardized assessments do not apply to everyone.
Right.
Yes, they are ignored in the.
Yes, a language sample is great. Compare them to their peers with the same background.
A dynamic assessment.
Yes.
Everything was dynamic assessment.
Just similar to your research.
Don't be a racist.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Also, a lot of them are really like common. Some of them are pretty common sense questions. So, like,
Yes.
if you went to school and studied this for at least 2
Right.
years, you're like gonna figure it out.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yeah, it was all.
And they're not trying to trick you. I didn't feel like they were trying to.
No,
It was
they were
not
not.
like my graduate school stats test where I was like, "You're trying to make this
Yeah.
hard on
Yeah.
purpose."
Good tip. Good tip. All right, so then you took your praxis, you did well, and then you started applying to jobs, right? How many places did you apply to? Question 14.
So I don't know the number offhand, but I knew that I wanted to work in a charter school since I taught at a charter
Okay.
school. So
we never talked about that.
our
talk about
charter
it
school
now.
connection.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I actually just cold emailed probably like 20 or 30 charter schools in New York City with a cover letter on my resume saying like, I don't know if you guys hire speech therapists, but I
Right.
won, hire me.
Right.
I
So
love
you took
this.
that. You took that initiative.
Yeah,
You
I
called
heard back
and-
from like maybe 1 or 2 of them being like, we don't actually hire direct, we hire through agencies.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, okay, so maybe I should start applying to agencies and figure
Correct.
out which agencies have charter schools in their
schools.
contracts. And that's how I ended up where I ended up. But before that, Deb and I met
Yeah.
3 years before my CF.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if we shouldn't name names or anything. Like, what do you?
No, maybe
You can name names. I don't
Okay.
care.
Yeah, we both work for City Sounds of New York currently. I was working at City Sounds. I was placed at Achievement First Brooklyn High School, and that's a charter school. And Christina was hired as an assistant teacher, teacher assistant TA.
TIR, like their teacher in residence, but like
Yeah.
only 1 day a week because I was in grad school, but they just needed somebody to cover their independent reading blocks on Fridays.
Right.
So I was covering their independent reading blocks on Fridays.
And you qualified because you were pursuing an education.
Yeah, I qualified because I had a bachelor's degree
Yes.
and I was seeking a master's degree in an education field.
Right.
And I had taken all of those weird certifications you take in graduate school, like Dignity for All Students Act and
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The tests.
The- yeah.
the New
The-
York City.
and all
Yes.
those like
I took those too before grad
Right.
school. Good
So I
tips to all
had-
the New Yorkers.
yeah,
Take those.
might
ASAP.
have I had enough certifications that I could qualify, and I always had another teacher in the room. I wasn't like teaching, but
Right.
I had
Right.
another teacher there.
I'm going to just reiterate my point. So if you see yourself working in the Department of Education or in New York City, don't think like, oh, I don't want to work for the Department of Education. You still need those certifications.
Yeah.
So try taking those before you even go to grad school, because grad school gets all crazy and you got
That's
your
a
own grad school.
That's
so,
a good tip.
Thank you. I
excellent
told you
tip.
it's the wine. It's the French wine. Yeah, so take those, and I took 2 in 1 day. I was like, take one, you go get
Yeah,
lunch, and
You could do some online too. Some of the certifications were online. Some of the workshops, and like on a day off, I just like sat at my computer
Yeah.
for 8 hours. And I went through them.
It's called Get Them Done, because when you in grad school and you're ready, before you know it, you'll be ready to apply for jobs, and you want to work in a school. They're going to ask you, do you have these tests? And you want to be like, yep, here I go. Here are my passing scores. Ready.
Yep.
So where did you do your CFY? Question 15.
I did my CFY at City Sounds. No connection to Deb from our prior life from there.
No.
I just ended up there. Then the day that they're like, "This is your supervisor," I was like,
Yeah.
"You look really
I
familiar."
was an hour late to sign the papers. I couldn't find any parking. I
Nice.
walked in there like, does the mob own all these garages? Why is everything commercial
And
vehicles?
I was like, "This sounds familiar." I remember hearing this voice when I was teaching reading down the hall.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. Side note of question 15B. What was it like being like in the same charter school with Deb? Did you interact with her at all? Like, because you were the reading
Yeah.
person and she was the SLP at the time.
So when I was teaching reading, I was only there 1 day a week.
I'm gonna take some watermelon on this. It's quite hot in here. We need some refreshing.
I brought some.
And my co-teacher, I told him that I was in graduate school and I was
Taylor Reinhardt, hello.
He's not listening to this.
He could be.
And I told him that I was like, oh, I'm getting my master's in speech. He was like, oh, you should meet Miss Brooks. She's the speech therapist here. And so we met. Deb gave me a packet poems for February. I still have it. I found it today.
It was What is Love by William Shakespeare.
It was the whole packet,
and
though.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
But those were our poems of the month. So if anybody asked me what we did February 15, then I can tell you we read What is Love poem by William Shakespeare, and we also read 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
And we identified and interpreted rhetorical devices within each poem. And we
I feel like there was some reading comprehension on the authors of the poems.
Yes.
So some like, who is Robert Frost?
Right.
Type of thing. Where was he born? Why did he do this? But we didn't really interact that much. I think we met like that one time.
Yeah, that was
and
it.
then like that was about it.
But yeah, I gave her my
so
packet.
fate brought us back together.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at that. So we all know that Deb loves poems. So look at that. Not much has changed, right?
Yes. I like poems. I did creative writing in school.
Oh. All right. So the setting was, so your CF was in a charter school?
In a charter school, in a general education middle school. And then I also worked with the 4th grade that was in the elementary school in the same building. So 4th through 8th grade, 9-year-olds to 16-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. Are you still, are you still there now?
Yep. I'll be back there in just a week's time.
Wow.
So.
Do you do poems too?
I do.
Wow,
Did I steal an idea from Deb?
Well,
No,
that's
no.
because Deb, question number 17, was your CF supervisor. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Deb,
so
Deb, tell us about Deb.
Deb was my CF supervisor.
I can take anything.
Deb, go have some honey in the next room.
Go talk to Frankie.
Yeah, go make sure Frankie didn't pee anywhere else.
I think this is Christina's. I hope I heard Mike yell. I know he peed.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell us about.
I thought Deb was a great supervisor. I was really worried that I would either have no supervision for my CF or too much supervision, and it's really about a balance. And I think Deb had a good balance because I also think Deb is very insightful that she knew how much supervision we needed. So if there was something you were doing real well, she wasn't going to intervene. But if you were struggling with an area, if you weren't getting your notes in, or if you weren't coming up with ideas for therapy that were really targeting their goals, that's when she was going to intervene.
Right.
It wasn't like grad school where somebody was just telling you what to do all the time,
right?
Or hounding you for notes. And it wasn't all right, well, just do your thing, and I hope it's okay. She came once a month to observe us.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And she came at the same time, so now Deb knows my group of students super well, which I thought was fun.
I think I recommend that to CF supervisors out there. All I did was, because I didn't have a ton of availability, and my school had half days on Wednesdays, so I went to my elementary school until 12 o'clock. Then I observed one of my 3 CFs every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1:30, and then I was at my preschool by 2:15. So I only had that time available.
Right.
So I made a Google Doc of every Wednesday from September until June, and then I had them sign up I had the date, their name, and then the address, because there's a lot of these schools.
Yes.
You can just Google the name, there's 6.
Right.
So, and the room number, because it got confusing. And I really got to see just one group, which at first I was like, oh, I'm just going to see the same kids over and over again. Is this going to be helpful to them? And I was like, no, it's great because I get to see the baseline and the progress. So I do recommend going to see obviously if somebody's having a problem with a certain group, then make the effort to observe that. But in general, just for a rule of thumb, just go at the same time. And then those kids know you and they look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, they're gonna ask about you next year. You're gonna have to come back and make a celebrity visit because they ask every time, "Where's Miss Debbie?" And also, that was the name Debbie.
So I know people do that.
She just went for it.
So you had these pizza meetings.
The glow and grow too.
Yeah, and glow and grow and
so each week we wrote a glow and a grow, and then Deb would respond to it, which I thought was a nice way to reflect. I also went to the staff meetings at our school. And they had a similar thing at the end of each week. We would write a reflection based on some quote. So I always think that that's a really important.
I like that.
I think that's a really important thing to do, to not just go to work every day and do your job and then leave, but to also take some time to think about what you did and how it went, and was it good, was it bad, what could I change, how do I make it better.
Right.
And I
think it
liked
was
to put
also-
pictures of my glows and grows. That was
Yeah.
my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. And I think it was good too because just in terms of record keeping, we had a record of all of our indirect therapy. In terms of you can do direct therapy, which you do an hour a month, and indirect you do 2 hours a month.
Right.
So we did a half hour every Wednesday. A Glow and Grow was due at 9 p.m. This way it had a date, Christina's response, my feedback. So if there was any type of question in terms of like, was this CF adequately supervised, we had everything on record by the date. So
Nice.
so that we were just completely prepared. And then we did the pizza meetings just in an informal way of like, okay, what's happening?
Right. Let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah. A
That's
lot of like,
awesome.
so what was terrible this week? And like, you know.
I think you're lucky that you had such an organized and
Yeah.
great supervision.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it wasn't
yeah.
like too much. It was organized,
Right.
but it wasn't
Yeah.
like this is overbearing.
And it
so.
seemed fun. You had pizza meetings.
Yeah, that was
and-
fun.
Yeah, and we got those taken care of. City Sounds paid for our pizza meetings.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Alright.
well, Mike paid for all the pizza meetings, but then Mike got paid back.
We know.
Yeah.
Did you get paid back?
I mean, I had my CF supervisor was at the same school as me. We shared a room, so I got to be with her all the time. But I wasn't like we didn't do like pizza meal. I mean, we had lunch every day, so that's like how we
Mhm.
did it. And like my big tip for like CFs out there is a lot of times you're like nervous to ask, and sometimes I feel like just observe and watch them and what they do. So that way, if you have a question for them, you could just be like, all right, if I were her, like if I were my CF, what would she do? And it's like if you know them pretty well and you know their style, like you could try to like kind of put yourself in their shoes. That's my
Copy
tip.
them. I mean,
Yeah,
poetry
you know,
all the way, guys.
Yeah. And then if you didn't work out, then you know for the next time, right? So, anyway, question 18. How did you prepare for your caseload?
Well, I didn't find out my placement for my caseload until like 2 or 3 days before. It was maybe like a week before.
Mm-hmm.
I had a vague idea that it was going to either be middle school or high school.
Okay.
So I like went on Teachers by Teachers and downloaded all sorts of free things related to middle school
Okay, good.
students.
I like the word free in that sentence.
Yeah.
Go, girl.
I did an All About Me for the first week. I did a lot of like push in the first couple weeks to
Yes.
observe and also get a sense of what do they need to be able to do in the classroom.
Good.
And
tip.
then I like to have themes and units in my sessions instead of like trying to reinvent the wheel
Good.
Monday through Friday.
Look at this.
So we did.
You could tell Deb was.
We did a newsletter. That was my best.
Oh,
theme
that was
thing.
so good. That was great. She did this newsletter. Everyone participated. It was good.
Yeah.
They all like some did like an article. I'm like, what was the article about? That was
They
fun.
interviewed one of their teachers because
Oh.
like 6th grade girls love to get all the dirt from their teacher. So like we're going to interview our teacher and we're going to ask her all these questions, and it was the best thing in the world. And they were so excited, and their teacher was so excited.
Oh.
And
And
then
that
they
was,
had
like,
to
how to
like
make
prepare their
sense.
questions. There was like there was a voting booth where
Right,
like
there's
someone came
voting.
up with what should be in our prize box, and they
Oh
wrote like
my-
Oh, yeah.
argumentative essays
Yes,
on it.
that was good.
There was we shouldn't have uniforms.
Right.
There were some
Wow.
poems.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was fun.
very good. Like it was like a lit mag, and like it was like a
Oh.
newsletter lit mag. It had all sorts of. It was like a collaborative project.
One student wrote all about her fluency strategies. I was super impressed.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that was great because like not only did these kids like weekly work on something that they like built towards, but then they had a physical thing to be proud of. And then Christina just had one session where you just had them going out in the hallways like passing them out like social skills and also like
Oh.
advocating for themselves. I'm proud of this work that I did. Let me tell you like a brief
Wow.
synopsis of
Yeah,
like what we have here and how I contributed. So
it was
great.
fun. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Highly recommend doing it. It's easy. And then I got my older students to edit it and like proofread it,
Oh
which was
my-
like a great way because I was like 8th graders don't really want to like contribute,
right.
but they were like, we'll edit it, we'll organize
yeah.
it, and then they had a part in it too.
That's
So
awesome.
you can find something for everyone.
I feel like that was awesome. That was just whoa. Okay, so let's pick like 2 or 3 CF do's. So I mean, you said a lot. So if you
I
could
would
just give
say-
us like two do's.
One do. Just observe and advocate for yourself and your students with your school. So, like,
Nice.
if you think you need something, talk to the dean or the administrators. My dean and administrators were so willing to do anything.
Good.
And advocate for your students because they won't always, and teach them how to advocate for themselves so that they can.
Mhm.
And
Your
I would say also do walk in confident. No one knows that you're a CF except for another SLP. So you don't have to like tell someone that this is your first year at grad. I mean, you can tell them it's your first year at grad school, but they don't know the difference between a CF and a SLP.
Yes.
A few extra.
To them, you are the speech person, and you're taking the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And just be confident. You know more than you know. Also, the kids will like sense fear if you feel uncomfortable.
Oh my God, that's so true.
So just walk in there and. Also, don't be afraid to explain your rationale to students.
They're done with their wine, so I'm gonna drink to that by myself.
But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to tell your kids
don'ts.
like we're doing.
Don'ts.
Don't be afraid of like telling your kids what speech therapy is. Like,
that's
you can tell your 8-year-old why they're in speech therapy and have them rewrite their goals and have them understand it and have them take ownership over it. So, don't be afraid of talking to them about it. Don't hesitate with like your ideas. They're probably good.
Yes. Good
and
one.
don't be afraid to listen to your students. I got half my ideas from students. The newsletter idea came because we read an interview and all these girls were like, we want to do an interview. And then I was like, great, let's create an interview. Let's make it into a news. You want to publish it? Sure. And then listen.
That wonderful idea was started
really
from
11-year-olds.
Yeah. So let's go into our tip and trick segment. Since you just gave us a lot of do's and don'ts, what's a trick you should do, or tip or trick? And this is a trick that, doesn't need a ton
I know what
of
my
planning.
trick is going to be, and I feel like Christina's going to be mad when she hears my trick, because it's going to be probably what I've been stealing my trick. My trick is I'm stealing from Christina.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Man.
So mine is to give your kids cool pens.
Oh, it's such a good trick. It is such a good trick. Every color of Sharpie, it'll cost you like $15 to invest in some really colorful pens and really colorful Sharpies. But if you want them to do something, and you're like, you can do it. Here is pick 2 bright Sharpies.
But get fine ones, because when you don't get the fine ones, then
they're called flare pens.
Yes, the
flare, whatever.
This is
the
like
pen I've been actually using.
It's a different one. Well,
okay.
That's a good one. I have a ton. Maybe they were in my
We should post.
I think I gave Deb some at the end of our time together. My other trick would be.
Well, no, that was my trick.
Okay. I'll give you a since that
yeah, you could
a stolen trick.
No, I know, like, you are gonna be jealous of my tip and trick. So
my other one is to just sometimes.
No, you don't. This isn't your other one.
Oh,
this is your only.
This is my only trick.
Yeah, this is like separate from all the free advice you just gave. Like, we need to get
that
now.
first one was not your tip.
That was 20 questions game. This is now
trick.
Tip or trick segment. Deb's trick is buy fun colored pens.
Completely my idea.
Completely your idea. That she stemmed off from someone else, I guess. So, Christina, what's your tip?
My trick would be, maybe this is still from Deb too, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sometimes students are gonna behave in ways that you can't control, and just ignore it, because you can't control everyone and you can't control everything. And all you can do is make the best of the situation for everyone who's in there. So you don't need to react to every behavior, because they will only react to your reaction.
Great. No attention for negative behavior. That's what I say. So my tip or trick is not that fun and exciting. Mine was related to session notes. I feel like CFs always have questions about paperwork management. So how I still do my session notes is I have one big binder with every student, including individual and group sessions. Each have their own session note, and when you go through your schedule, let's say Wednesdays, you're going to take all those individual session notes out and put them on a clipboard, so you have them all like in one small place. And then when you're done, move them to the back of the clipboard, and you just have like, let's say you have 10 sessions, you're only going to have like 10 papers on that clipboard. So I feel like it's overwhelming when you're like going through your binder and you're flipping through these papers. It's like, just condense them all, today's kids, on your binder.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So on that note, let's end with our quote.
Yes.
Do you want Christina? Can you read our quote?
Okay.
Yes. There's a quote. There's always a
Okay.
quote.
This quote is: "Be like a duck, calm on the surface, but always paddling like the Dickens underneath." By Michael Caine.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. So
I think that's a good quote for a CF.
Yeah.
Walk in like you know what you're doing. You are a calm floating duck, but underneath you are doing lots of other things that are less calm.
You're paddling.
That's why we picked
Like
that
buying
quote.
crazy colored pens.
Yeah.
Exactly. So on that note, I'm Maria,
I'm Deb.
I'm Christina.
and thank you for listening. Good night.
Adios.